Let's get it.
Hell yeah.
Wrong season, but still works.
Yeah.
So, I've been really excited about doing this show.
Me too.
Solo Leveling Season 2 is amazing.
Yeah, so...
It's so good.
I mean, honestly, it was great because we got to start off the season by going to the theater to see Arise.
Yeah.
The recap of Season 1 and
Yeah.
the first 2 episodes of Season 2.
Yes.
Which was awesome.
Yes.
And I really hope that, in future seasons, whenever they come, they'll do the same thing, because I'm there.
100%. It was the first time we've done that, and I think it really paid dividends because I had so much anticipation coming out of Season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Solo Leveling Season 1 was so anticipated, and it had a lot of good stuff, but it also had some hurdles.
Yeah.
And I think, it was kind of like, it was a bit of a rough start, but man, I think Season 2 paid off on all the hype.
It really did, and also, some of the questions that I had at the end of Season 1, they actually, brought things up in Season 2, and then, didn't answer them necessarily,
No.
but at least addressed them.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, a lot of the show is sort of mired in mystery, and you sort of have an idea what's going on, but not totally. Also, the show works very much in a way of, it's sort of like an isekai, but he's still in his world, but it's got that wish fulfillment, it's got that OP protagonist.
Yeah.
I would say, unlike most isekai, our main character is a little darker. He's a little more in the, not quite Eren Yeager area, but he's way edgier and more violent.
Well, the thing is that, he starts off very light, in the beginning of Season 1, and he just sort of gets darker and darker, and by those first 2 episodes of Season 2, you hit this point where you're like, oh man, is he losing his humanity?
Oh, 100%.
And I think one of the great things in the season was, they were able to show a sort of how much more dynamic he is, and how he wasn't necessarily losing his humanity, but he definitely was changing.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we saw a little bit of it in the first season. He had a few moments, like that one time he threatened the guy in the coffee shop. But the second episode of Season 2, you're right. I mean, it's so funny.
It made the coffee shop threat seem cute.
Oh, it really did. Yeah, I mean, in Season 2, in the second episode, he basically kills an A-rank hunter who's technically you call it self-defense, but he kills an A-rank hunter in order to turn him into one of his fighters to beat the villain.
Yeah.
And that's just something like no other shonen or pretty much any anime hero would ever do.
Yeah.
It's really funny. We went with a friend who I don't think saw the first season, and after it was done, she turns to me and she goes, did he just enslave that guy's soul so that he could defeat the villain? And we both looked at each other and were like, that's kind of what the show is.
Yeah.
We don't tend to watch shows week to week.
Yeah.
This is one of the few shows we watch week to week.
Yeah.
And I gotta be honest, it was so enjoyable.
It was.
I don't remember feeling let down or any episode was a filler. It was 12 strong, great episodes. And not just that, because of the world we live in now with technology and the hype, I found myself, especially some of the really amazing battles, rewatching them on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, if all the episodes had come out at once, we absolutely would have binged it, would have been done with it in one day. We wouldn't have slept, we wouldn't have gone to work. We just, would have been nope, watching Solo Leveling. And I just think, I don't want to give away too many spoilers, for anyone who hasn't actually seen it. But the thing is that the season, the fights were incredible. Yeah. The character development was also incredible.
Yeah.
Some characters that we met a little bit in the first season, we got to know more. The one thing I do want to bring up, I was saying before about certain questions, at least sort of being addressed. The end of Season 1, I kept on going, what about his dad? And you kept going, wait, what about his dad? And I was like, do you remember that one time in Season 1 where they mentioned that his dad went missing 10 years ago?
Totally.
And we get, we actually get the answer that his dad was trapped in a dungeon and he gets out and, he still hasn't made it back to his family because he had to, somehow get back to Korea.
Yeah, but he's got a dope big 80s rock star haircuts.
Yeah, and it's going to be so interesting when he and Jin-Woo finally get back together, and, when he gets back together with the whole family.
I know.
The other thing is that the mom was in a coma. They answered the questions of why people are in the comas, and I thought that was really interesting. Hopefully his sister's okay.
Yeah.
So much of the season, you forget that his thing is, it's taking care of his family. The reason that he was still, like, even when he was, like, at the lowest rank, he was still going into those dungeons and collecting stuff because he needed to do as much as he could to help his family.
He had to support his family, and he had to save his mom. Find a way to cure her of her sickness.
Support his sister. His mom was in the hospital. And
his sister wants to be a doctor. Yeah. He's got to pay the bills.
Yeah. And so, this season there was so much about that, and so while he was doing things that were like bordering on, like, is he really giving up his humanity? At the same time, it was like there was just this emotional core to it that I thought was beautiful.
Yo, 100%. They balance it so well because there is that stuff and it gives the action meaning. But pretty much every episode, if he doesn't fight a major, like, villain, it was like a two-parter.
Yeah.
It really did just, like, give you what you're looking for in an action anime.
Yeah. Let's think about some of our favorite moments in the show. Like, obviously the fights, we'll get to talking about the fights.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, Thirst Trap Jin-Woo, when he is playing a miner, when he is pretending that he's just a lowly guy, miner.
You mean his Zoolander cosplay?
Yeah, his total Zoolander cosplay.
Yeah.
Where
I was just like, there's no way that this is not, like, a reference to Zoolander, right? He looks, he has the exact same outfit. Yeah, oh my God. Which, by the way, in Zoolander was meant as a joke because it was so clean and stylish. It's like, it's so good.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And then Hunter Cha, like, comes into contact with him when he's I'm just a miner, don't worry about me.
And it's so funny with her too, and her whole thing is like, everyone smells except for him. I was like, okay, that's interesting.
Okay, future Jin-Woo love.
Yeah, it's like, I was like, that's an interesting way to go about it. The two guild masters that were, like, really trying to, like, get in his good graces and he just had no time for. Was so funny throughout this entire series. Especially the guy who runs the entire Hunters Guild, trying to get him to work for him, and he's like, listen, my place is the dungeon, bro. And I love that stuff.
How about all of the times through this season that he had to say to people, you can't tell anyone about this. You can't show anyone. Yeah, like, so many times throughout the season. Now there's so many people that know his secret and but are also keeping that secret.
I also just love this concept of, like, you really feel it's like watching somebody play a video game really, really well, because, like, every time he comes up against a really powerful villain, you're like, haha, that's gonna be one of his shadows soon. And I still think maybe, I can't decide. So my favorite fight in this season is either the Ice Elves in the first two episodes or the Orc Tusk fight in the middle, because that bit when he says to the orcs, you're all going to be my shadows soon, and they just cut to the orcs and they're like, it is like, because he's already killed a bunch of, it's like, I love that. I thought that was so cool. And it's like, the dude he's just a badass. He's a total, he's so cold, and he's got his, like, glowy blue eyes, and, like, and I cannot get over his fit. Like, his drip in this show is amazing.
I love the long hoodie, coat, sweater, whatever it is. I want one.
Oh, like, sell
me the Jin-Woo outfit.
He looks like the romantic lead of a K-drama who's like a movie star or a musician who is just like, this is what he wears when he goes on the town with his, like, will they, won't they love interest.
Was it like the first episode of season 2 where he has to help out, like, he has to go for his sister, like, parent-teacher conference, essentially, and like, she's like, what happened to you?
Yeah, and I was like, when did he get the, like, K-pop haircut?
Well, when did he grow, like, 12 inches?
I know,
like,
it's so good. It's just sleep, that's what happens.
Yeah.
So much about the show is so enjoyable, but really, it's about the bears.
Oh my God,
it's about the bear shadows.
Oh my God, in the opening credits, when he's sliding down the building with his bear shadow. Oh my God.
Speaking of which, so you and I are kind of two different minds. I actually think I like this new song that Lisa did, like, more than the first season intro song, but I think you like the intro.
Well, the thing is that I really love the intro from the first season.
Yeah.
The second season one, I didn't like it as much as at first, but it totally grew on me. Yeah. And so now I'm putting them about equal.
Yeah, it's like, for me, I think the second season song is a little more emotional, and it's something that I could like put in a playlist and listen to and be like, oh, this is dope. Where the first one, I really like it, but it's very much, it's so directed to, it's like, here I come to save the day, it's like very directed towards the show.
But it gets you so pumped.
It does.
You're
but
giving yourself the best shot.
It does, but it's like, could it be my destiny to be Shaman King, or I'm gonna be the very best, and those are classics.
Those are classics for a reason. So obviously, you mentioned two of the fights that you love. Yeah. It's a funny thing though, because like you're right, those are two of the best fights in the season, which kind of leaves out the final fight. Not to say the final fight isn't amazing, because it is. Although a lot of it, doesn't even include Jin-Woo.
Yeah.
But like. It's funny because those two fights, I think, are the best fights,
I think so. I think for this season. Yeah. I mean...
The final fight is super exciting.
Yeah.
But the fights themselves, you're right.
Well, the Beirut fight is awesome. Yeah. And the animation is, like, pretty amazing. Mm-hmm. But I also think, like, the part that I like the most was the very beginning, where they're just slugging it out. Like, because Beer's running around, and he's chopping everyone in half in, like, microseconds. You can't even see. And so... the last thing you expect is them to just start using haymakers on each other. And I love that, because it was so simple. It was almost like a silly Dragon Ball Z fight, and I loved it. I thought that was like so interesting, because
it's like you expect a voice to come on, test your might,
Exactly, because we all know, he's gonna get his blades, and they're gonna move like at the speed of light, and they're gonna fly all over, like that. You expect
someone's gonna comment, I can't even see them.
Exactly. And they did the classic like DBZ thing where like somebody gets punched and there's like all the dust and you can't see anything, and then they're like, oh, I guess I got him, and then he appears out of nowhere and he's like, what? It's like, and I like that stuff, but yeah, just for me, I almost can't decide, because the fight with the Ice Elves and the fight with Tusk, I just thought were so different and dynamic, while also having the same sort of idea, which is essentially like, I mean, that's really in all of these, which is like, he's coming in to save the day. He's basically like, in these fights, when Goku shows up to Namek after all the Z fighters are practically dead.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I think the first fight of the season, it's an interesting one, because he's now learned sort of how powerful he is, but I still don't think he quite understands how powerful he is. And so, and there is a risk. It's sort of why he had to take that guy's soul. Yeah. That guy was totally trying to kill him, don't get me wrong. But like, he probably could have done that non-violently or semi-non-violently. That being said,
he could have. What do you mean? So, like, he could have signed him up for like euthanasia? What are you talking about?
No. He couldn't have killed him non-violently.
I was like, I'm pretty sure.
No. Like, the guy was like running at him like to kill him. Yeah. He could have like knocked him out, like not actually killed him. But then he probably.
But then he wouldn't have won the fight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's
well, and I love that they set that up where he was like, this guy is stronger than me and Igris combined.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, this is the way out of this problem.
Yeah, but it's just such an interesting fight. The other thing about that fight is like there's more dynamics to it that you're like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like the thing with the elves, with the one elf that like glitches.
Oh, and you can't see what he's answering?
Yeah.
Who's your master? Who you work for?
He keeps repeating because he can only answer certain things, and he totally glitches out. Only Jin-Woo sees it, and only Jin-Woo understands what they're saying anyway, because he can understand all languages in the dungeons or whatever. Yeah. So it's all fascinating.
It is. I mean, it's the thing, and it's like I like that they're slow rolling the mystery. Like I feel like no matter what's revealed, it's gonna kind of feel like everything else. So like right now, I'm like, keep like lost me, like keep me in the dark as long as possible.
Yeah, that means like I was sort of frustrated that like they brought the dad in, and then like you're waiting all these episodes and like I thought he was gonna go find his family. Like what's going on?
Well, he's clearly like there's way more involved than just that.
Yeah.
This season was great. I mean, honestly, we're still early in the year, but like I could see this easily being my favorite anime of this year.
Agreed.
Everything was top notch. Storytelling, animation, it was just fun and cool, and like I felt it, and like I love that. And so before we go, what was your favorite fight?
I think the first one.
First one, right? The Ice Elves?
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was so good.
What about you?
I think it was that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really think it's between that and the Tusk one, and I do think it's that one ultimately. Because he had to be clever. It wasn't just being powerful.
Yeah.
And it was also just something you would never see a Naruto or an Asta or even a Goku do. Like it was some crazy, that was like light Yagami stuff. Which I think just makes Jin-Woo so much more interesting. Okay, second question, even more important, okay? Who's your favorite shadow?
Oh, that's tough.
Well, I'll tell you mine.
Okay.
Mine is still Igris.
Yeah.
He's just like,
he's
so
there. Yeah.
dope.
Igris is always there backing him up.
And he's like, he looks awesome. He's light speed. He's basically his Zoro, except he doesn't talk.
Yeah.
And probably has a better sense of direction.
But you know what? Now he has a shadow dragon. So
I asked because I knew you were going to say dragon.
Like you know,
I knew you were going to say dragon.
As a shadow character, you know, it's just a dragon. It doesn't really have much of a character.
Yeah.
But it's a dragon. But no, Igris is definitely like, you know, it's his go-to. It's like always got his back. Yeah. You know, so. But yeah, dragon.
Yeah, dragon. I knew you'd say that. I also like, I will say, if I had to pick a second, it would be the head polar bear.
Well, yeah.
Because he's amazing. And I do love, though I'm not like a huge Iron fan, I don't dislike him, the few comical moments that they have with Iron because he's like too hardcore is very funny.
Yeah, no, it's great because like you're right, he's too hardcore, but he's super happy about it. He's super excited to be so hardcore. He's
so enthusiastic.
I do want to say, you know, I know there's been like some, you know, people like have been like people love it or people like dislike it. I feel like a lot of the people that dislike it, you know, from what I've read at least, it's a lot of the people that read the manhwa.
Sure.
And so it's like they don't necessarily like the changes that have been made. That's at least a lot of the criticisms I've seen.
You know, it's always so funny. It's like I never read the Harry Potter books, but I love the movies.
Yeah.
So to me, like it's irrelevant.
I agree.
Like you always have to look at things. I mean, listen, everyone can. It's all subjective.
Yeah.
But I always feel like you should look at the product by itself, because the problem is sometimes when things are exactly like the book. They're nonsense.
Yeah.
Because it's too much. So I think that, like, you know, it's cool that everyone gets their opinion. For me, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And maybe I'll read the manhwa someday and maybe I'll agree with it. Mm-hmm. But for right now, like, I'm riding this wave. This is a dope show and it's so good.
100%.
All right, guys, let us know in the comments down below who is your favorite shadow. And also, if you want to, what your favorite fight was. Or moment of this great second season of Solo Leveling. Please like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. And arise. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Bye!